Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am talking about and reviewing and going to a spectacular competition show that not many people know about, and when I ask about it, people are like, what are you talking about? And maybe it's just because I went through an Oxygen phase where I watched every single show on Oxygen. The show has to do with another show that I'm rewatching right now, which made me think about this show. And I was like, wait, I wonder what happened to like all the people who were on that show, you know? So the show I am talking about is the GLEE Project. I am going to dive so far deep into this show. I literally wrote notes while I was rewatching it. That's how dedicated I am to this video, because not only that, I looked up YouTube videos. I was looking for I absolutely love when people just review a whole series, and I'm just like, let me know, because you can't find this show anywhere. I looked it up a few months ago when I started rewatching Glee, and I couldn't find it. And then all of a sudden, I literally see 4 or 5 videos pop up on my YouTube feed about the GLEE Project, probably because I was looking for it. I put on my glasses for this one because I'm a blind bitch. The GLEE Project.
This summer, the producers of GLEE are bringing you TV's most anticipated event, the GLEE Project.
The GLEE Project was a show produced by the writers and the casting directors of GLEE. The prize for the show was a minimum 7-episode arc on GLEE. And let me tell you, this was prime 2011. This was the prize of a century. I swear to God, if you didn't watch GLEE, you weren't cool. I'm just saying, every bitch watched GLEE, even the dudes. I was 11, I was watching this show, okay? The show's first season premiered in the US on June 12th, 2011, and concluded August 21st, 2011. The hosts and judges for the show were Robert Alterich, Nikki Anders, Zach Woodley, and the one and only Ryan Murphy, okay? Every episode started with a homework assignment in the beginning of the show, where the cast would perform a song according to the theme of the week. Themes included true colors, theatricality, sexuality, things of that nature. Then a winner would be chosen in each homework assignment, and a member of the GLEE show, the actual show, would come in, choose their favorite, who they thought won the challenge, and then they would have a one-on-one session with them to help them improve for the week. We would see a segment of them practicing the choreography with Zach Woodley, then recording the song in the booth with Nikki Anders, and then we would see them filming the video with the director. I do not have his name in here. I will show a picture of him and put his name right there. Then, at the end of the week, the judges would oversee all the challenges, and a bottom 3 would compete to stay for the next week. And in the bottom 3, it was Zach Woodley, it was Robert Alterich, and it was performing in front of Ryan Murphy. So that was the rundown of the show, and that's how every episode went. We would see the homework assignment, probably have a little drama in between here and there. Then we would have the choreography, then recording the song, and then the music video. And then after all that was done, we would see the music video, and then we would get the bottom 3, who would then perform at the end of the show. And then at the end of the week, whoever was not in the bottom 3 and got passed, one would be on the cast list, or it would not called back list, and one would go at the end of every week, sending one by one home. So we talked about the format of the show. It's just any basic rundown competition show. Moving on to what rewatching the show meant to me. So I watched the show for, I want to say one reason, but it was 2 reasons. One, because I liked GLEE. I was obsessed with GLEE. Yeah, but let's get to the real reason why I loved this show, especially the first season, because no offense, the second season was kind of trash. Watching the show, the reason I mainly went in to watch the show, 2 words, 1 person, Damien McGinty. Your dad Irish? Okay, do me a favor, go ask your dad if he knows who Celtic Thunder is, okay? Okay, now ask him who's Damien McGinty, And I promise you, your father will rant on about how this young boy had the best voice in a Celtic Irish group. He was the reason I watched the show. I was obsessed. Well, no. My father was very into Celtic music because we are Irish, and he was into Celtic Thunder. Therefore, I would drive around with my father. He would listen to Celtic Thunder, so I got into it. I discovered Celtic Thunder when I was very young. I discovered Damien McGinty when I was very young. He was a very adorable young man with a sweet voice. I was watching the show because I wanted to see how far Damien would get because I was obsessed with him. And yeah, actually a few years later I ended up meeting him. Insert embarrassing picture here. Will I blur my face out? Will I not? We don't know. That's what really drew me to watching the show, and the fact that Damien is a winner of the show, and I'll go into that in a second. Moving on to probably the highlight of the show and what gave the show its oomph. The contestants. Okay, so the first season, in my opinion, had the better cast. This show ran for 2 seasons, and I am also biased because I really enjoyed the ending outcome of the first season. The cast included Cameron, Marissa, Hannah, Mateus, Emily, Ellis, Bryce, McKinley, Lindsay, Alex, Damien, and Samuel. Okay, first season was really about figuring out like how to make the show like spicy, and like, no offense, I feel like they tried so hard to make it exactly like Glee. Like, they had a person who was Rachel, they tried to have a person who was Santana. They were trying to spice it up, which I understand. It's a TV show, you want viewers for the drama, but I genuinely feel like the cast of the first season was not like, I feel like they were drama free. I feel like they were all really close, like they all really got along, and like compared to it being like, oh, like I'm in this for this, and like, you know, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to win that. Like, it wasn't like that. Like, everyone got along. Again, with like having people like Lindsay Pierce was supposed to be the Rachel Berry of the show. It was clear as day. Like, she was the one. She's like, oh, I'm from a musical theater background. I'm here to win. I'm here to do my thing. I'm not gonna stop for anything. Like, I'll trample on anyone. But then, no offense, like, I feel like that was like her only plot point. And then it was like, oh, you do have a genuine moment, we don't care. So then it just like took her whole personality away. And I don't know if it was the way the show was edited, or if just she was a really boring person. But like, even in the one episode, like, Ryan Murphy is like, I don't know how I'm gonna write for you because you don't have a personality. Alex having like a few diva moments, and then like Mateus having a few diva moments, but it wasn't anything like, it was like, oh my god, like I could see like just like being like, okay, I'm just in my zone, I'm trying to get my shit done, like I don't need people in my way. Yeah, all over again. Like, Lindsay, probably the best singer of the group, not gonna lie. I also think Cameron was the best male singer, even though I'm biased because I love Damien. But Cameron's voice, oh my god.
Oh, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Oh,
I'm gonna move on to the first 4 who were eliminated. So the first one who was eliminated was Bryce. And no offense, I don't have anything to say about him because he was on the show for 1 week. He had a decent voice. He was, you know, attractive. The first 4 to go were Bryce, Ellis, Emily, and McKinley. And watching it all over again, I forgot about them being on the show. Some of them had a nice voice. Emily and McKinley were very pretty. I did like McKinley being African American, or, you know, she was light skinned and she came from this country background, because like it was definitely not like, oh yeah, I look at you and I can see that. Like, I'm good, but they were outshined by the other ones because they had more to offer, and it's just how the show goes. Ellis, on the other hand, she annoyed the shit out of me. Oh my god. I mean this in the nicest way. Like, I wanted to kick her. She was complaining the whole time, and then she had this whole thing about how she was 18 and she looked like a 12-year-old. She was shorter for her age. She looked younger than all the other girls, and she was like, I don't want to be perceived as this child. And then even telling the director that of the one video, and then he's like, okay, then do things that are more adult, and then she goes and acts like a kid. So it was like, why were you trying to get rid of that like label, but then you fed into it, like, and that's why she got kicked off the show, also because she was annoying. Emily, I really liked her storyline in the one episode where they wear the white shirts with like something that they don't like, that a label that like makes them upset or whatever, and she opened up about how she was sexually abused, and I think that's a really important like topic, especially at the time for like, you know, that was 2011, like people weren't talking about that then, and like it's really hard to come out about that. But then in the video of that week, she couldn't hold on to the emotional, like she would literally be in takes, she'd be like in the middle of takes, she'd be like crying, and then she would stop and like laughing, and it would like really pissed off the judges. And like I said, her voice was nice, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Moving on to the 5th person voted off, it was Mateus. I really genuinely liked how he was like this, like he was a small person, but guess what, he was like, that, like that's not me, I'm not gonna be that person. He had abs, he was always taking off his shirt, like rolling up, and you're like, I did not expect that at all, but it just made you like him more. Besides that, he did not have the best voice, I will be honest with you. I think his voice was very scratchy. It was more of like he could do things, but then sometimes it would be like overdoing it, and I was like, you don't have that vocal control. Very fun person to watch. This person voted off was Marissa, and let me just talk about this, because when I saw this I was like, what? And rewatching this, I'm like, wait, because I know she goes before all these other people, but I was like, she literally killed it in the week that she was voted off, which is why I don't understand she was voted off. She was killing it for 6 weeks. Like she won like 2 homework assignments in 2 weeks. Like she kept getting all this buzz from all the judges. They were like, oh my god, we love your voice, you're amazing. All of a sudden, boom, she's voted off. Like why? Couldn't tell you. I think the writers were really thinking critically and being like, you know what, she kind of looks like everyone else on the show, so I'd rather have someone who looks different rather than her, because she would just be a cheerleader or something, and that was it. But I'm really upset because I really liked Marissa, and her and Sam, I will put it on me that they had a thing going on and it was never talked about, but like they looked and worked so well together. Oh my god, like their one music video they had to kiss, and like sad to see her go, but I didn't want anyone else to go before her too, so it was really hard. But Marissa, you deserved better if you ever see this. We're moving on to Cameron, and this man, I went in for Damien and I left with Cameron because this man stole my heart. Cameron was the sweetest and realest person I think I've ever seen on a reality TV show, and I've watched several seasons of Big Brother. His personality was so good, and it went so well with the show. And what really pissed me off, and this is probably another reason why I dislike Lindsay, regardless of the fact that she doesn't have a personality. So the 1 week they were put in duos, doing solo music videos in the duos. So it was Marissa and Sam and Cameron and Lindsay. So Marissa and Sam were the winners of the homework challenge, so they got like all this stuff, and Marissa was directed by the director to surprise kiss Sam at the end of the music video, but Sam didn't know about it. And yes, this kiss, it was hot. They got like, yeah, it was nice. But then Lindsay and Cameron go to film their video, and Lindsay goes, I'm gonna do the same thing. But Cameron was in a relationship of 2 years, and Lindsay just out of the blue kisses him without being told by the director, which is another reason why I think he left. Cameron did not get voted off. Cameron chose to leave, which, he would have won. I think he would have won. I'm gonna be honest. I would have chosen him over Sam any day. Lindsay kissed him to try to one-up Sam and Marissa's video to, not be in the bottom, the bottom 3. And Cameron was so taken back. He called his mom. He was like, Mom, I feel like I've cheated. I don't know if I can do this. He ended up going on to the next week. This is the week Mateus left, okay? So that was week 5. Then week 6, Marissa goes. And then week 8. So this whole thing is still in his head. He's like, I don't know if I can do this. He told Ryan. And then Ryan Murphy was like, I want to write a religious person. And you would be the perfect person for that. Okay, keep that in mind. Damien was about to go, and then Cameron was like, I don't think I can do this. This isn't meant for me. I want to go. He saved Damien's life, literally saved Damien's life, and he left, and that was it. Just sad. Like, I love Damien, but I really think Cameron would have won this if he had not done that. And Hannah was the last to officially get voted off. Her voice was not the strongest, which was probably her downfall, but like, Hannah was so fun to watch. Her personality was very bubbly. She was very funny, so lovable. She had a crush on Damon, and like they had something, and I just really like how, you know, like, it was just fun to watch, like, because Damien and her were very close, and Cameron, they were like my 3 trios, and I loved them all together. 8, she left, but episode 9 is where it gets weird, because we get to the end of the week. I think all 4 of them performed, and then no one gets voted off, and you're like, well, what the hell is going on? So then it turned in from being a final 3 to a final 4, and you were like, okay, so who's left is Sam, Damien, Alex, and Lindsay. Alex was a boy, and he would dress up in drag, and like, Ryan Murphy loved it. He had a more girlier voice, like, he could hit those high notes. He was definitely a soprano. Like, he definitely one of the best theatrical voice that we heard in the show, and his range of motion, or range of tone, like, he was amazing. And he belted out all these like hardcore hits. I already talked about Lindsay, so I'm not going to talk about her anymore. I just don't think she had a personality. She annoyed me. I think that was her role in the show, but she was annoying. I'm also not going to talk about Damien because I've already been talking about him. Moving on to Sam Larson. Sam was like this punk rock kid. No, he wasn't punk rock kid. He literally had dreadlocks. I'm pretty sure he had tattoos, if I'm incorrect. All I know is now he's in the After movies. And I mean, I'm sorry, but like, if my career went that downhill, I would just quit. Sam was very good. I really liked his voice, but what kind of pissed me off is he always won challenges for literally doing this face. Like, he was just like an edgy person and like had nice bone structure, so you were like, oh my god, he's so hot. But then you're like, he's doing the same face and everything when he's hurt, when he's sad, when he's happy, and it's just like, I don't really get it. Get into the winners. So technically, Alex and Lindsay came in tie for second, and Damien and Sam were the winners of the show.
We all just win a little bit.
The winners of the show were promised a minimum of 7 episodes. So I didn't realize that when I was watching this back. I was like, oh, they're only going to be on for 7 episodes. But I was like, no, if your character works well, like, it's going to work well. And then Alex and Lindsay were promised a 2-episode arc, which was, you know, just like kind of like a side character. And I just want to say the comedy out of this is that Lindsay is the only one who got what she was promised. She was the only one who got 2 episodes. And out of all of them, Alex ended up having a 39 episode run on the show of Glee, which, applause to you, because that's badass. And honestly, it made sense because his character was going to bring up so much conversation. Samuel had a 23 episode run on Glee, Damien had an 18 episode run on Glee, and Lindsay had a 2 episode run. So that's kind of why I like the ending of this series and this season better, because it was like, oh, like, you were like, okay, Sam won. Like, it's not like we didn't see that coming. But then it was like, wait, Damien won too? Then it was like, wait, Alex won too? And then it was like, wait, Lindsay won too? Woohoo. But, I mean, it was really nice that all the top 4 got, what they got. That was the ending of the show, which I think that's the only reality show that I've ever seen end like that, where it was like, oh, instead of just 1 or 2 winners, here's 4. And I was like, okay, cool. So again, I really enjoyed the show overall. Watching it back really brought back all the memories I had in my heart. I was like, oh my god, I forgot about Cameron. And then when I saw him again, I was like, it's Cameron. But then it reminded me so much about like being 10 and 9 and like growing up and watching Glee and like just remembering that like that's kind of what shaped me and like my mindset. And it was like, people grew up before then not thinking things were okay like this. To what Ryan was talking about with Cameron, he was like, wow, I didn't know that side of Sam, because like from the looks of him, like you're like, oh well, he doesn't think like that. Or like you might just be like, oh, you would never understand that. But he really wanted a religious kid or a religious person in high school to like kind of go against like being gay and like being trans, which is kind of what Alex's character falls into. And I could dive into that, because can we just talk about how William Schuster wouldn't give up twerking for Alex's character to use a non-binary bathroom or a non-gender specific bathroom? Trigger warning, Matthew Morrison. The show received a 6.6 rating out of 10, I believe, for the first season. I didn't look up what the second season received, because honestly, I didn't watch it again. Found watching the show through Daily Motion. I will put in the guy's tag that I found it on, because shout out to you. Music videos in this show were so fun to watch again, because I remember I was like, oh, I'm going to be on that show. I'm going to be able to do that. And now I'm a media production major, and now I just kind of want to make music videos for people. So, the show is amazing. I can see why they stopped producing it. I don't think it brought in the ratings it wanted to, and Bad Girls Club was definitely better on Oxygen than this show, because this was like wholesome, and Bad Girls Club was like, okay, that's where the juice is, I'm going over there. That's all I have for today. I really enjoyed this video, and I really enjoyed prepping for it, because I like really went into detail with what I wrote down, and I definitely want to make another video like this again. So please leave a like or subscribe if you liked it. Let me know what more content you want to see. I definitely think I'm gonna start doing like reviews of shows or like TV, because that's all I watch on YouTube. I hope you guys like this. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.